Good evening, everyone, or good morning, wherever you are. It's me, Ari Dossett. You can call me Rashid. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. Thank you for being in this live stream. First of all, as I always ask, can you hear me clearly? Let me know, please. Let me know if you can hear me clearly, please. It's quite important. Okay, you can hear me clearly? Okay, that's good. Well, Aaron, a decade ago is when I began with this channel, so you wouldn't have found that many videos on it. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. A non-player character or non-playable character. A non-player character or a non-playable character is what you find in video games. For example, this is some combat game, obviously, and this is you. You're moving around with your console, whether it's a PS5 console or you just use your PC to play the game, or you're on Xbox, whatever. You have the characters in the game. That's really you, or the individual moving. For example, here you have one of them is actual game player, the human being use the console. The other ones are just fictional characters, part of the computer program, just a video game. These are actual GIFs of it. So in video games, you have those characters around, which are not played by anyone. Those are those fictional characters there to make sure the game is real. For example, if you play GTA, and it's about this big city of crime, and you don't see any other people walking around in the game, it doesn't feel real. So you have those non-player characters. For example, if you play Final Fantasy, you have a lot of those characters that are out there to help you on your mission. To make the game appear real, you need to have other characters. But if you have 50 characters in a game, you only have 2 players. If you only have 2 players, then it's going to be an empty game. You need to have those other characters who are not played by anyone, but just algorithms of the software itself playing itself out. So, do you know what a literal NPC is? NPC comes from the gaming world, non-playable character or non-player character. You understand now what an NPC is? Let me know in the live chat. Do you understand it? Let me know. Do you understand what NPCs are for in video games? Why they exist? Let me know in the live chat. I'll wait for your answers. All right. Now, when you play a video game, you know that the interactions you have with those algorithm creatures is not real. Check your connection, Aaron, because the live goes very smooth over here. But anyway, when you play those video games, you know that those NPCs are just algorithm characters. They're just meant to fill in the game. So if you're doing, for example, I know what the game's called again. Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, whatever. If you play any of those games, interactive games, you have 2 people fighting one another. That's actually both 2 people have a console compete with one another. They know that, or it's your body playing game with you that's doing the moves to that character. That's different. But with the NPC, it's just an artificial thing. You may be upset when an NPC character defeats you, but hey, it's a game at the end of the day. It's not something real life that's going to affect you. When you read a novel, okay, let me stop screen sharing. When you read a novel, and I'm a novelist, I published over 20 novels already. Yes, about to turn 32 next month. But anyway, in a novel, you have those characters. You can't have a story with only one character. You need to have other characters in it to make the story a story. You know that the characters and what's happened there is just fictional. You may, of course, you're going to experience a story when you read it. You're going to have a certain way you feel about certain characters, but it's just a character. All right? Now, let's move away from video games and novels right now. Let's go to daily life. we have the assumption, that every interaction we have in daily life with our fellow human beings are real. That's the assumption we have, that every interaction we have with our fellow human beings in daily life is a real interaction. So if someone gets upset with you, you have the assumption there must be a problem. Or when someone contacts you on, let's say, social media, you think, oh, they're interested or they want something from me. We have this assumption that anytime a human being acts a certain way, that there must be a reason why behind it, or there must be an actual motive involved. And don't get me wrong, when human beings behave, there is a motive why the human being behaves. But that is if it is a human being behaving. I hope you understand this. You have human behavior and you have human beings behaving. Those are two different things. Human behavior are the basic behaviors that's all installed of us. For example, if it gets cold, you begin to shake your body a little bit automatically, because just to keep your body warm. If it's hot, you begin to sweat. That's a natural process of human body. And when you sweat, you may want to take off some clothes. Or you may want to eat an ice cream, get some shelter or some shadow to be in. If you feel endangered, you get stress hormones released in your body. Or if your brain perceives danger, your brain will kick in the flight or fight response. This human behavior. And then you have humans behaving. For example, it can be that your body picks up heat, but you, the human being, decides, oh, I'm going to stay in this heat because I'm sunbathing or I'm on the beach. It's human behavior to normally, when it's heat, to automatically look for shelter. But as a human being behaving, you can do otherwise because of the social situation. It's human behavior to stay away from stress, because stress in itself is not good for us. But sometimes daily life, stress is unavoidable. For example, if you're working out in the gym, or you're just working out in general, or when you're completing a task, or when you have to rescue someone from danger, sometimes stress is unavoidable. Unavoidable. So in that case, it's human beings behaving. Do you understand the difference between human behavior in general and human beings behaving? Is that distinction clear onto you? Well, maybe, for example, you may see someone from the opposite sex, and biologically, it excites you. But then you know, hold on, who is this individual? What is he? Is he married or is she married? Now your social reality comes in, and now you try to figure it out first. It's natural that you can get aroused from someone from the opposite sex, especially in the same age range. But it doesn't mean that automatically, because you're aroused, you have to act on it. That comes to the human being behaving. So, human behavior and human beings behaving. In daily life, anytime we encounter human beings, we have the default attitude to see human beings behaving. For example, you arrive at work, your colleague comes in, don't say hi to anyone, just goes right to his desk. We see that as a human being behaving. We may think, oh, he's ignoring me, or he's rude, doesn't even say hi. We automatically assume it's a human being having an intentional motive behaving. What if the individual even notice you because they didn't sleep well last night, and because that their body functions are not at their best? So them walking by you, not greeting you, they didn't even realize you were there. It's just human behavior. If your functions are low, you're not going to notice everything around you. That's natural. We cannot change that. So if the individual didn't sleep well and didn't notice you, what you could have done is say, hey, Rashid, or hey, Kevin, call them, suddenly you notice you, and say, oh, hi. Human beings have automatic processes in our body and in our mind that they haven't further built. That is human behavior. And then we have us human beings acting on those natural programs. You know what I mean? Sometimes we go against the program. For example, we endure stress just because we're working out in the gym, for example. Or we may not have slept well last night, and because our function a bit low, but we still push our body to function because we have to go to work. So Human behavior and human beings behavior, two different things. Now, why is it important to understand this difference? Because when a human being's functions are low and it goes on long term, what happens is that evil spirits can now hijack the body of that human being. If it's an unbeliever, the demons can just enter in, just possess the individual. If it's a believer, it can only trigger the body at a distance. So let's say you have a colleague, and the colleague has been suffering from insomnia for a while. They're taking sleeping pills in order to go to sleep at night. So their functions are quite low for a long time. At some point, that colleague is not even aware of what he or she is doing. It's like automatic program operating. They wake up, brush their teeth, go to work, say hi, bye to everyone. That's it. It's like they are it's like in a dreamy state almost. Now they're not asleep; they are awake, but they're not fully alert of what goes on. They don't even realize what goes on around them. It's only when you shock them by screaming at them, whatever, they suddenly wake up and realize, oh, what goes on over here. Understand this: when a human being's functions are low, long term, so longer than 3 days, they end up in this um, artificial dream state in which they are operating, they're breathing, they're eating, they're pooping, they are talking to other people, but the human being is not fully present mentally. It's similar to sleepwalking. The only thing is you're not asleep. Now understand this. If someone in such an artificial dream state, they're not really present there emotionally. They're not really there interact with anyone. They're just operating, you know what I mean? Like a machine. Are they a machine? No, they're not. They're a human being, they're a living being, but they're not operating fully as a living being. This artificial dream state that a lot of people end up in, due to stress and their body function being low, this is the NPC state of society. This artificial dream state that a lot of people end up in is what society does to you in the long run, especially our modern day uh, society that uses social media on you all the time. In an NPC state, that is when your functions are low more than 3 days, and you're kind of in sleepwalking while being awake, that is NPC state. A human being in such a state is not at their full mental and emotional functioning. Like a machine, they will react to triggers, but that's all. The only reacting triggers not actually present over there. Now, in this state, it is not possible to have a full interaction with someone. If you are fully awake in the present, emotionally, mentally, you cannot have a full human interaction with someone who's in an NPC mode. Cannot happen. It's impossible. If you have two human beings in NPC mode, there's no full human interaction happening. Just a back and forth of words and body gestures. That's all it is. If someone has a baby and they're in NPC mode, they cannot actually parent that child. Cannot happen because the child needs human interaction, and that's something the parent cannot have as long as they are in this artificial dream state. In this artificial dream state, it's very hard to have compassion and empathy with other people because you're not even aware of other people. You're kind of locked up in your own mind. So understand this: any interaction you have with someone in the NPC mode, it is a fake interaction with no emotional depth, and no long-term foundation. You can tell someone that I don't feel that well today. Um, I had some bad news. One of my relatives passed away. And they may say, oh, my condolences. Are you okay? And that's it. Now, if they're really present at the moment, you will feel the warmth of empathy coming from them on you. You will feel that they are present with you. You will feel the appreciation that you're open and transparent towards them. If someone's in NPC mode, you tell them, listen, I don't feel well with one of my relatives passed away. What you'll notice is a sudden glitch, like a sudden shock, like they don't know what to say. Then, if they give you condolences, it's going to be more like a robot or a computer making a sound towards you. You're going to feel a bit weird. Or you may have them lash out at you saying, that's not my problem, blah, blah, blah. Or they may become like a child raging against you. But whether they are triggered like a child raging against you, escalating, as if you just discipline to them, or they just react in like a robotic way, in both cases, they are in the NPC mode. They are not at their human level of functioning. They're not. Now, whether they are at a full human function or not, it still affected you. Even if they did not intend to harm you emotionally, it happened. So, in this case, they have to get out of NPC mode and be fully in the present. By the way, how many of you have been to something similar to this? Maybe not with bad news, one passing away, but just in general. You are talking, or you just are involved with someone, but you feel like there is no actual human being involved with you back, even though there are human beings right over there. How many of you have been through this? Let me know in the live chat. How many of you have been through this? Let me know. What about the rest? Look, when someone is in NPC mode, it's not that they are fully gone, like they're dead. They are there, but they're just not aware. Nothing gets through to them. Can you hold someone responsible? The only thing you hold them responsible for is by not noticing something's wrong with them. That's the only thing you hold them accountable for, because them being insensitive towards you, they really don't even notice that it was something to be sensitive about. The fact is, it's like they're drugged almost. It's like they're on drugs or something, or they're drunk. They, you can say, "Oh, you hurt my feelings." You behaved in I don't approve of your behavior, but the thing is, the individual's not even aware of any behavior. You can call them narcissists. Oh, you're so narcissistic. You're never sensitive towards other people. Individual thinks, what? And when they deny what you accuse them of, say, oh, that means you see you're a narcissist because you this and that. But the thing is, individual is like, what are you talking about? They really have not noticed anything. Listen, there are people out there with good intention in NPC mode because of long-term dysfunction. If, let's say, someone like that um, lash out against you, for example, you maybe you are in public and you just walk by and someone looks very angry at you, and it makes you uncomfortable. Think, why is this guy looking so angry at me? Why is he staring at me? Here's the issue: that individual is in the NPC mode. That individual, the brains are functioning, the body's functioning, so when they cross the street, they know not to just walk when a car is coming. So they're like a machine operating, but a human being is kind of in a sleepy mode. So in there, let's say everyone around is wearing casual clothes and you're dressed in an extravagant way. They're programmed to think that you're an anomaly. So bodily, their body will act out against you. They're not even aware their body is making this fraud against you. They're not even aware of it. They just see you, and the body language shows annoyance. Thing is, you are aware of them showing annoyance towards you. They are not. You know what I mean? Later, when you call them out and asking, why do you look so angry at me? They think, what are you talking about? Now you think, oh, you're gaslighting me. Now, don't get me wrong. There are narcissists out there who gaslight you. Okay? And there are people out there who pretend like, oh, nothing happened. They're gaslighting you. That happens. Okay? Gaslighting happens on purpose. That's a crime. It happens. But often it's not gaslighting. The individual simply is not even aware that their body is aiming at you in an angry way. And let's say now you have someone suddenly staring at you like that. And you get annoyed, thinking, what are you looking like that, man? You confront them. Now, suddenly they wake up out of this NPC mode temporarily and they see you going off at them. So they think, oh, F, I'm in danger. And now you have a fight. And the police has to come and you both arrested. Many physical altercations happened like that. Someone was in an NPC mode. They had a glitch, but when they look angry or they stare at someone. And now the other human being gets upset, confronts them. And once the individual is confronted, suddenly for a moment the other's NPC mode, but they wake up to someone going off at them. So they think, oh, I'm in danger. Fight response, things escalate. Some people even die as a result of this. You know what I mean? So is it clear to you now that a human being in an NPC mode can only be held responsible for not noticing their own condition, but for nothing else? Now, if they don't want to face themselves, now that's a different issue. Because at that moment, they're not fully present and active. How many of you witnessed this? People suddenly staring at you out of the blue, intensely. And look at this. In an NPC mode, I already told you, demons have easy access to that human body. Easy access. Now, the NPC mode can take a toll on someone. That's when they develop deep mental disorders, and they break down. But most people are in this NPC mode for years. They're eating, going to the toilet, washing themselves. Some of them even married, having sexual encounters with their partner. But you'll notice these sexual encounters are always empty. The thing is, Aaron, you say basis people being fake without knowing. You cannot be fake without knowing. Faking something means you on purpose want to act a certain way. It's simply that they are not even aware of themselves or other people. Look, when you are asleep at night or taking a nap, you're not aware of anything. But your body is active. For example, if someone is asleep and suddenly it's a big noise, the ears pick up the big noise. If the noise is too big, the body will wake up the individual. Or let's say you're asleep, someone grabs you. The body does pick up someone grabbing you, so then it wakes you out of the sleep mode. Well, imagine someone is not asleep with their eyes closed, but they're awake, functioning, but they're not really there, as if they're asleep. That's the NPC mode. Is everything clear to you till now? Let me know. Look, the NPC mode is not permanent. someone can be shaken out of it. Now you may ask, why do people often go back to the NPC mode? Because the NPC mode is actual delayed trauma. Your functions are low because of stress, and you got used to this stress. And because you got used to stress, the fact is that you don't pick up there's anything wrong with you. Issue is others do. And that's why self-reflection is so important. And this how so many people in the world become portals for demons. For example, you can be talking to someone, or okay, let me say it like this. Let's say that you just got an eviction notice from your the real estate officer. I'm not going to call them landlords because nobody's lord except Heavenly Father. You yet got an eviction notice. It's unjustified because you did pay the rent. You paid rent every month. You have receipts that you paid rent through your bank transfer. But the landlord claims you haven't paid any rent. You have to move out. This thing stress you out, but you're aware. Think what the heck is this? Then you arrive at the bus station, and suddenly people begin to talk about eviction. Then you go to work, and someone else talks about eviction out of the blue. And you think, why is everyone talking about being evicted? And I just got an eviction notice this morning. Let me tell you what goes on. The public around you has some issues with you prospering. So now the demons on behalf of the public, because the demons are triggered by the public, the demons now are out there causing confusion around you. That eviction notice was a glitch in the brain of the through estate officer who couldn't see on his bank notice that you paid the rent. He simply couldn't see it because his brain was blocked through a brain fog caused by the demons. So the landlord really thinks you haven't paid rent, even though there's proof right in front of him on his bank notice that the rent came in. So the landlord acts on in impulse, give you an eviction notice. Now you think, what the heck? What the heck is this guy doing? Well, landlord, real estate officer. So now you think, oh, hold on a minute. You go outside. Now the same demons that causes brain fog into the real estate officer are now also, if they're if the people at the bus station are unbelievers, they're jumping into those unbelievers, and suddenly the topic of eviction comes up, and everyone begins to talk about eviction. The people were not talking about eviction, talking about something completely different. They were talking about the weather, something superficial, and suddenly eviction comes up. Why? Demons want you to start losing your mind, thinking that it wants you to become delusional, it wants you to lose your mind. After you leave the bus stop, suddenly nobody talks about eviction anymore. Then you think, huh, then the human beings think, why do we even talk about eviction? Those other human beings were in an NPC mode. And that's why demons could easily use them or jump inside them to unbelievers and trick them to talk about something that's going on in your life. And you think, how come these people know what's going on in my life? They're strangers. It overwhelms you. Now, this happens to some people that demons trick them like this. And some of these unbelievers end up in the New Age or in mysticism, say, erase their thoughts, or the universe is communicating with you. When you got an eviction notice, and at the bus station, and where everyone's talking about eviction, it was the universe communicating with you. And that's how, because you actually experience an anomaly over and over again, for you it's real. And there is a real anomaly, but you're not aware it's demons causing it through human beings who are not at a full functioning. Because don't have this explanation, you tend to fall for the New Age explanation. Oh, it's the universe communicating with you. And before you know it, you're full in the New Age, or you're full into mysticism. Or maybe your mom always talked down on you. And suddenly, this female supervisor at works uses similar words your mother used to use against you while just talking to you. She didn't insult you, but used similar words like your mother used to say. And you think, hold on a minute. This female supervisor never uses words like this. Why does someone use words that's similar to what my mom used to tell me? It's because demons know you're so traumatized by how your mom treated you, and demons want that trauma to remain. So demons now know that this female supervisor is in an NPC mode. So it's very easy for them to trick her to say certain things without her being aware of it. And demons are now using her body to speak to you just to trigger the trauma inside of you. You follow me? So understand this. People in NPC mode, I'm sorry to say, but you cannot have long-term trust in them. You cannot even have full human interactions with them. And let me tell you one thing. The NPC mode is not permanent, so it will fade off. But a lot of people remain in a repeated NPC mode because they just don't want to face things around them. So they become willing NPCs at some point. And from the point they're willing NPCs, they have become what you call a satanic agent. When someone persists in escaping, despite wake-up calls, they end up in this narcissistic victim rage in which they want to be unaware of everything, so they're not held accountable. From that point on, they are a satanic agent. So not all human beings out there in an NPC mode are satanic agents, but people that insist in escaping eventually become willing NPCs, and from that point on, they're satanic agents. So understand now, not every encounter you have with people out there is real. I'm not saying that those human beings don't exist. That's just your mind playing games on you, imagining people. No, those human beings are there, but there's no actual interaction happening. It's just an emotional program playing out. That's it. So yes, just like computer programs can glitch, some human beings can glitch too. Just understand the following. People in NPC mode, you can be texting them and they forget to text you back for months. And I say, oh, Rashid texted me. Oh, but it's already months ago. Then, huh? Is it months ago Rashid texted me? Yes. They don't even know they read your text message, but it is in their mind to answer you, but they kind of forget to answer you because they're not really present. So understand, communication with them, especially communication through media or at a distance, is not possible with such people. If you're married to someone like that, live in the same house together, sexual connection is not possible. It's going to be a disconnect every time. So understand, people that want to be part of society eventually end up in this NPC mode. Once in this NPC mode, treat them for what they've become at that moment. I don't think they'll be in NPC mode forever. Some of them will get out of it and they will become better people. But a lot of them stay for years or decades in this NPC mode. Some even die in this NPC mode. All right? Just understand, having full human interactions is not possible with every human being out there. It isn't. Not only are there language barriers out there, but the fact is some people are simply not emotionally and mentally present. It's like they're in some type of soft coma almost, but still operating. And one more thing I want you to pay attention to. If you are involved with someone who's in the NPC mode, it's going to be detrimental on you, because you're going to be stressed out because the individual is not actually engaging with you. You're always going to feel frustrated or unappreciated by this individual. Look, if someone is a satanic agent, of course you'd avoid them. But if someone is in NPC mode over and over again, and you're involved with them, whether it's in a marriage or at work, whatever, at some point, your involvement with them is going to anger and irritate you. It's going to weigh you down because it's not a healthy involvement at all. People in the NPC mode, they often have common fleeting activities like drinking a lot, getting drunk together, or doing drugs together, getting high. They often have this common self-damaging activities because they're not fully present to admit, you know what the heck am I doing with my body? What the heck am I this and that? Of course, there are people who know that their smoking is bad for them, that know that too much drink is bad for them, and they admit and they're willing to do something about it. That's different. But then you have people who are just in this NPC mode. It's like it doesn't even occur to them that they've been damaging their body for so long. So please, if you know that someone is in an NPC mode, listen, adjust your expectations of them. If you insist on treating them as a full functioning human being, I'm sorry, that's a problem on your part. Listen, if someone is in a wheelchair and they can't walk physically and you get upset that they can't walk, everyone say, damn, you're out of your mind. They're crippled, right? How the heck you get upset with them for not walking around? Yes, they should be walking around, but hey, they're disabled. You get upset with them for not being able to walk. I'm sorry, but the problem is with you. If someone is blind and they are walking around and they don't see the stop sign, if you get upset with them that they are just crossing the road without looking at the stop sign, listen, they're effing blind. That's why you have to stick with them, right? Well, similar way, if someone is in an NPC mode, they're not emotionally and mentally present, even though they're alive and functioning. It's a confusing state, I know. Can you hold them accountable? Yes, you can snap them out of it and hint to them, listen, you're not functioning well. You need to be more alert, whatever. You can do that. But apart from that, you being upset with them for not functioning the way you can and be getting pissed off at all is you playing the victim to get sympathy. Stop it. Admit what you're dealing with. If demons see you going off at an NPC, demons will laugh and think, whoa, they're working in our favor. Let's add more NPCs towards them. You get me? Look, not everyone out there is in an NPC mode. They're not. But NPC mode is a common default state of people in society, participating in society. All right? So, now you know this. Reflect back on your life, how people treated you, and check whether or not they were fully present or not. Now, evil people often are just fully present, knowing what they're doing. But you also have a lot of people out there who are just in this kind of semi-coma state, and well, they're just going around. Now, I'm not saying that they carry no blame. They are to blame for not self-reflecting and noticing their own situation. But then it's on us to show it towards them. If they're not willing to see it, then eventually become a satanic agent and you have to avoid them. Simple as that. But don't go out there getting upset with people for not functioning well. First of all, most people are not even aware they're in an NPC mode because they've been tricked into it by all the stress of society. Paying bills, having to do this and that. You know what I mean? So have some compassion, please. If someone is a satanic agent, okay, that's different. But even if someone's a satanic agent, you being upset with them all the time, it's going to take a toll on you, not them. And listen, people in NPC mode, they have a very hard time having empathy and compassion on you. You can be bleeding on the road, almost dying, and only thing to do is call an ambulance. Now, some of them, if you are bleeding on the road, dying, suddenly the other NPC will say, "Oh my goodness, someone is bleeding here." Then suddenly they're out of it. I'm sorry to say, but a lot of people out there, it's only sudden tragedies that shake them out of this NPC mode, or sudden attack, or have you noticed some people they walk down the street and suddenly someone pulls a gun at them and they, oh crap, Eh, because they were walking down the road in an NPC mode. They didn't even notice danger around them. A human that's fully aware will pick up danger around them and avoid that street. But those individuals in an NPC mode, they didn't even notice danger around them in their intuition because they were numb to their own in their own body. And suddenly the robber came close with a gun to their face. Only when they had the gun to the face, suddenly they're out, they're fully alert. All right. But it shouldn't be like that. We should be fully aware in the present, emotionally, mentally, every day. So that this is how then Father designed us. Society numbs you down, in which you are in this dreamy state, in which you're fully um, meshed into the pressure put upon you. So, Are there any questions? Are there any questions about this topic, please? One time there was a news article in a newspaper in which was a newspaper. It was I don't. Yeah, anyway, it was a news outlet. Digitally, I believe it was also in print on paper somewhere. But anyway, it went like this: a woman at the gym called security because the guy was staring at her, and they removed the guy for intimidating this woman. But the guy was screaming, "I'm blind! I'm blind!" It's only after they kicked him out of the gym they realized, "Oh shit, this guy's blind indeed." The guy couldn't even see. So how could he know there was one in front of him? The woman felt uncomfortable because in her mind, oh, the guy's staring at me like that. Oh, the guy wants to do something to me sexually. That's her interpretation, and she got uncomfortable. Was it an actual danger? No. Thing is, but she perceived as danger and she acted on it. Well, the guy was just blind. Well, let me tell you, that guy was not in NPC mode. He was just blind. But here's the thing: human beings in the NPC mode, they will malfunction, and sometimes demons will use them to make you uncomfortable. If you react to the discomfort, you've fallen for the bait. Now you're in extra trouble that you could have avoided. Learn to calm down and reflect on what goes on around you. I already explained about random attacks, how it goes. Either someone is in an NPC mode and demons are tricking them to stare at you or whatever, or it ends up in an escalation because when they suddenly wake up in NPC mode, or it can be satanic agents that actually are out there, they don't like you, whatever. Aaron, you talk about Wisconsin. I don't know what the heck you mean about Wisconsin. Yeah, but I know it's a state, but what do you mean with Wisconsin? You simply mean you simply mean how people act in Wisconsin in such a way? What do you mean exactly? Oh, you said girls could say, okay, hold on, let me sort out what you said. Girls say anything about the dude in my part of this country. Well, society always wants to afford accountability collectively. So if there are women in their community, if there are women around who act out of line, people in society have to put them in check. But to put them in check means you have to face that a lot of women are not well raised. Ooh, it's something people don't want to face. So a lot of people go into the NPC mode defending those women, even when they can see the women are guilty at the expense of the guy. That's what goes on. And do not expect an NPC to take the side of justice because they're not even aware of what goes on around them. So again, I'm not saying that those human beings out there are just holographic projections done by some cult or the government. No. Some people on YouTube become conspiracy theorists that go very far with very weird theories that are easily disproven. No, those human beings are there. They were born out of a vagina. They are human beings that grew up in an environment. They're real human beings, but they don't operate fully as human. So because of that, in this dormant state, they are they're like mechanical creatures. They're like robots, and they can be used by demons easily in such a state, believer and unbeliever. So don't waste your effort and time arguing with someone in an NPC state. If you do that, you're the one you're the one out of your mind in that situation. Just like you don't go off at someone that's blind saying, "Why did you see me, asshole?" But the individual's blind, of course, can't see you. Just like the people think you're weird for being obsessive when it comes to walk while they're in a wheelchair, obviously. It's like you are arguing with a tombstone almost. If you go to a graveyard, someone is screaming and shouting at the tombstone, you may call the cops since individuals mentally ill, they need help. Well, that's similar how you are when you're arguing or being upset with someone in an NPC mode. It's completely useless and it's detrimental on you. And you will have the bad consequences to deal with later on. All right? So recognize artificial conflicts that are sent to hinder you. Some NPCs are pushed on you by demons because they know that this human being will malfunction with you and hinder you. So not every human being that approaches you or wants to get involved with you, you should embrace. Sometimes demons direct people towards you. Not everyone is sent by God into your life. Remember that. So again, avoid being part of artificial conflicts. If you notice artificial conflict is being suggested onto you or tricked into you, smile, calm down, and walk away. Just smile, calm down, and walk away, please. Simple as that. So if someone did not respond to your text messages for over weeks, either they have issues against you of jealousy, or they look down on you, or they're narcissistic, or it can also be it's just a human being in an NPC mode. They see your message, they want to respond, but they forget it and months go by, or even years sometimes. Stop seeking full human participation from someone in an NPC mode. They either get out of the NPC mode and they fully participate with you, or they stay in NPC mode and you have to move on away from them. All right, that's good, Aaron. You have to pay attention to this. All right. There's the second live stream I did today. I didn't intend to do 2 live streams. By the way, I didn't even intend to do live streams at all. But a fellow believer had a question about the Dada spirit, so I made a live stream about it. And shortly after finishing the previous live stream, I thought, I was inspired by the Holy Spirit to make another live stream talk about this topic, so I did. I hope this message benefited you and bless you. Anyway, keep agreeing with Christ, be at peace, and I'll see you next live stream. Shalom. God is good all the time.